Before we close off this segment though, we're going to take a quick look at the other tabs that are part of the activities module, starting with optional activities and events. And we just want to emphasize that. We have our red little banner here just pointing out that optional activities and events only on this screen. Supported training days and weekends, as you've already seen, are done here on the second tab. So coming back to optional events and activities, we have 4 different types of optional activities, starting with calendar announcements. Calendar announcements are informational only, and they will appear on your Corps and Squadron calendar, but they don't impact anything to do with your PO scheduler. So I'll just type in an example. To do a parent meeting. And that parent meeting will choose the day of the week. It's going to be on our parade day. And then we're going to go in and select dates. All the select date screens work exactly the same for these types of activities. And basically, you're going to see some white date fields and some colored date fields. The colored date fields simply indicate that there are other events happening in around those parade dates, and you may want to be aware of what those other activities are before you schedule something in there. And you simply double click on that color date field, and the other events then are listed in this dialog box. Once you're finished looking at that, you simply click OK. So I'm just going to go in and say, great, this works fine for my parent meeting. And we're probably going to have a parent meeting every other month. So it doesn't matter the exact interval, I just point at what I want and double click, and those meetings go in. Once I'm done selecting dates, I just hit the return button and we go back to the screen here. Single day events are events that only take place on one single day, and so they're appropriately named. They also will appear in your routine orders. And will be events that you will manage to indicate that they have approval of the Corps and Squadron CEO. So as a single day event, just as an example, I might have a bowling night, and I type in the event name as I want it to appear. I click on the event date field. I select when that event is going to take place. There is an attach EOs button. There's a limitation of EOs that can be attached to single day events, and that only applies to C10201, participate in a ceremonial parade. Also, we have the activity scheduler button. That's part of the content we'll cover in the next instructional video for activity details, so please go there to find out more about the activity scheduler. Reoccurring single day optional events is something that's very common for a lot of cadet corps and squadrons. Some common examples are biathlon training, band night, and sports practices or sports activities. So in this example, I'll create a band night, and quite often that happens outside of your parade night. In this case, I'll say that it's actually happening on the Monday, but I can choose whatever day that it's going to be on. In this case, Monday. Go into the select date screen, where it's exactly the same as the select date screen for calendar announcements. Maybe our band nights won't get underway until October, and if they happen every Monday night, I just continue clicking along. As we get into the Christmas period, those are going to come to a halt, and we might resume back after the holiday time is over. And I know that at some point in here we'll come up to spring break, so I'll skip over that week and continue on my band nights until they're all selected. Once that's done, I hit the return button, and our band nights are set up. I could go on to then create sports nights or any other reoccurring activity. The final type of optional activities are activities that require RCS approval, which is anything that is outside of the cadet corps and squadron CEO's ability to approve. A good example is a recreational trip, such as in this case, I'll create a USA tour. And you simply enter the name for your activity and indicate when it's going to be. This is going to take place over spring break, so I have to select my month and also my year. I have to remember to change my year selection. So it's going to happen at the end of March. That's the start date that I've selected, and now I'm going to select the end date, and both of those dates are now in here. There is an attach EOS. It has the same limitation as the single day activity attach EOS, being C10201, participate in a ceremonial parade. There's also an activity details button here, which again is the subject of our next instructional video and will be covered there. That covers all 4 different types of our optional activities and events. I'm going to move on now to cover the remainder of the tabs of the activity screen. Supported training days we've covered. Special dates. Special dates includes stand downs, ACR, and COs parades. As I click on the tab, one thing that you'll notice is that we've actually moved these features. We have left the tab here just so we can put a little notice to let you know that we have moved them and where they've moved to. We've put those functions all in the PO scheduler because generally they tend to affect your parade night schedule. So by having those tools in the same place where you're viewing your parade night schedule, we felt that that was more effective. So those features we will cover when we're in the instructional video on the PO scheduler. The last tab in the activities module is the regionally directed activities, reminders, and holidays. As per the customization of your template for your element and your geographic location, you will get regionally directed activities and reminders that apply to your unit. And they are all listed here, and they also appear on your Corps and Squadron calendar. The dates for these activities do sometimes change, and you are able to double click in the date field and select a new date as required using the pop-up calendar. Another way that you can manage these activities is by using the not participating checkbox. So if by chance you're a unit that doesn't participate in a particular type of activity, you can remove that from your calendar by clicking on the not participating checkbox. If that changes and you decide, no, that is an activity that we may participate in and I want to have that on my calendar, and I will just click on the not participating checkbox again to deselect it, and that activity will continue to appear. And the final thing in relation to the regionally directed activities and reminders, the reminders portion, those messages will flow through to the dashboard manager, and you will receive reminders about due dates and submission dates approximately 2 weeks ahead of the deadline in the dashboard manager, and more on that in the instructional video covering the dashboard manager. Moving over to the right hand side, we've got the holidays schedule here. Really, this is mostly an informational thing just to give you a consolidated list of all the holidays as they apply to your Corps and Squadron in your geographic location. One thing to note is that any holidays here which coincide with a parade night for your Corps or Squadron, the template will automatically create that as a stand down. You can go into the stand down manager and delete that stand down if in fact you're going to have training on that parade night. Finally, we come to the Corps and Squadron reminders to appear in the dashboard manager. This is a feature where you can create customized reminders to yourself for things that you need to do or remember at certain points in the training year. So for example, you just type in the reminder message as you want to have it. In this case, I'm going to create a reminder for myself to book the guest speaker for the Christmas mess dinner. Once you create the message, you click on the date drop down and you get a list of parade dates where that reminder could come to you. That's something, in this case, I want to do fairly early on. So I'm going to pick an early parade date where that reminder will come. And when I'm in the dashboard manager, as that parade date rolls around, this reminder will be displayed to me. If there's a reminder that I no longer need, I can click the deletion button and that reminder will be deleted from the template. We have, at this point, covered all of the tabs that apply to the Activities menu module. In our next instructional video, then, we will be coming back to the Supported Training Days module and looking in detail how to complete the screen for the activity details.